On today's show, the latest injury updates from NBA Insider Shams Charania on Joel Embiid and Paul George. Sixers really dodging a bullet with this Joel Embiid injury update. Plus, we got to talk about that Sixers-Celtics game last night. We were live on the channel for that game. What a night and what a clutch performance from Justin Edwards, really saving that game in that fourth quarter for Philadelphia. Before we get into all of that, want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to all of the real ones. I mentioned we were live for that game last night between the Sixers and the Celtics. It was a blast. We gained 50 subscribers during that watch party. So for all of you who are new subscribers, thank you. Welcome. Right now, sitting at 24,328 subscribers on the road to 25K. We are 672 away. How many subs can we pick up on today's show? Free, informative, insightful 76ers coverage all year long. If that sounds good to you, hit that sub button and let's get into today's show. So let's get started with these injury updates here. Shams Charania yesterday, today, breaking some of this news on Joel Embiid and Paul George. And let's start with the latest on Embiid. This is really the biggest news because prior to that game yesterday against the Boston Celtics, Embiid was expected to play. He played last Saturday against the Raptors, sat out the second half of the back-to-back on Sunday against the Pistons, was expected to play and was not on the injury report before that Celtics game, but during shoot-arounds on Tuesday morning, expressed to the trainers that he had some discomfort in his right knee and some soreness in that right knee. This is important to clarify here because the knee that he had been rehabbing all summer long, that he had surgery on at the end of last year, was his left knee. So this was a different knee. They ended up having to take some imaging of that knee and held him out of the game against Boston. And of course, you hear that as a Sixer fan and you think, oh man, like I'm preparing for the worst. What now? Even though it's the other knee, you're expecting something bad to be happening because it's Embiid and because it's the 76ers. But luckily, seems like Embiid has avoided any type of major scare or major injury to that right knee. Shams Charania reporting late last night on Tuesday, November 11th, after the Sixers-Celtics game, that Embiid was reevaluated on that right knee. They took the imaging. They looked at it. No structural issues. Whew, that's a big sigh of relief. Embiid is considered day-to-day. Sixers don't play again until Friday against the Detroit Pistons in their second NBA Cup game. So we'll see if he plays in that one, but regardless, seems like there is no long-term effects of this potential injury for Embiid. And as I just did, we can all kind of breathe a sigh of relief. Again, I know we were all probably bracing for the worst when we saw that news initially, but does seem like Embiid is going to be good to go here, at least kind of how he was before, right? Obviously, not playing every game and still ramping up a little bit, but at least there wasn't some kind of major setback because Embiid was really starting to round into form a little bit, and I thought starting to play some really good basketball. Now, he's played only 6 games on the season thus far of the Sixers' 11 games now, and not playing a whole lot in those games, of course, on a minutes restriction, but in these 6 games, playing under 24 minutes a night, still putting up nearly 20 points, 5.5 rebounds, 3 assists, shooting the ball decently. Started off rough, but especially the past couple of games, has really started to kick it into gear. And if you look at his per 36 numbers, they actually look really, really good when you compare it to how he was playing a little bit early on in the season. Now, I think another reason the Sixers were being extra cautious here, right, and why, holding him out of this game while you were awaiting these results did make a lot of sense. The Sixers on Tuesday, that was their 3rd game in 4 days. Philadelphia had a back-to-back on Saturday and Sunday, off Monday, played again Tuesday. It was also their 5th game in the last 8 days. So they've played a lot of basketball over the past week. Had back-to-backs, last Tuesday and Wednesday, off Thursday, Friday, back-to-back Saturday, Sunday, off Monday, play again Tuesday. So they played a lot of basketball as of late. Not the worst thing in the world. To hold Embiid out seems like, again, nothing serious there. We can all breathe a big sigh of relief. Now let's get to Paul George because, of course, Paul George has yet to make his season debut for the 76ers. after he had that surgery in July, that arthroscopic surgery on his knee. We're kind of waiting for him to finally make this debut, as he's been practicing for a while now. So when is he going to be out there? Well, according to Shams, and we've kind of been hearing that he's close for a while, but reporting here that Paul George is in the final stage of his debut process, will be reevaluated later this week. He is moving closer to a return, but doctors want additional strength of his left quad to support the knee before clearance. So clearly, they are being thorough. They do not want Paul George out there unless he is ready to go. And, makes sense given his age, his injury history, what he went through last year. Very obvious to me. The Sixers want Paul George at 100% or even over 100% healthy right now. They are taking no chances with this recovery, given we are now 11 games into the season and he's been practicing for a while. I thought there was a chance he could have been out there to start the season. Obviously, is not out there quite yet, but does sound, we talked about this last week where it sounded like he was maybe a week away. Maybe now he's about a week away. I do expect, though, the latest by the end of November, you'd figure, unless there's some setbacks, Paul George should be out there, should be ready to go. Now, when he does come back, we talked a little bit about this on a video earlier this week with Watford, and this was actually yesterday on Tuesday's video, how good Trendon Watford's been playing. I do imagine, though, Watford does move to the bench, and Paul George is inserted into that starting lineup when he returns. Look, you're paying him a lot of money, right? And coming into the year, he was a starter. And I think there's no issue with moving Trendon Watford to the bench. Obviously, he had that big game against the Raptors last Saturday. Has been a little more up and down, but I think still shows a lot of good signs. You can bring him off the bench. He can have good production. Now, maybe to start, you bring Paul George off the bench if you want to ease him in. But when he's full go, he will be starting on this team. Sixers could really use what he can bring. And look, even if he's not the old Paul George and, he's not out there dropping 30 and taking guys off the dribble, beating you with his handle, he still is a good shooter, right? That's not going to leave him. And I think he can still be a good team defender. Again, probably not the same defender he once was, but Sixers could really use that spacing, that defense, two things that would greatly benefit this team right now. So hopefully Paul George, these reports are true when he actually does come back sooner rather than later. But I'm kind of getting to the point with Paul George now where I'll just believe it when I see it. When he finally is out there on the floor, that's when I'll start to feel more positive about what he can bring to this team. Now, we had this debate again the other day, but I want to get everybody's thoughts on this again because I want to make sure everyone gets their voices and has their opinions heard on the show. When Paul George does return, whether that's in a week, 2 weeks, who knows, should he be inserted back into the starting lineup? I think he will be, but I want to know what you guys think should happen. If you were running things over there with the Sixers, you were the coach, you were Nick Nurse, would you put Paul George in the starting lineup once he's back at 100%? Give me a simple yes or no. Of course, embrace debate down there in the comment section. Now, we're going to talk about Justin Edwards and some more takeaways from that crazy Sixers-Celtics game last night coming up right around the corner. But first, I want to give a big shout out to today's presenting sponsor, and that is DraftKings. All your favorite NBA players are back, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is the place to bet on NBA stars this season. New customers, bet just $5 and get 3 months of NBA League Pass, plus score $300 if your bet wins, paid in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code SixersChat. That's code SixersChat. Bet $5 and get 3 months of League Pass, plus get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, pass-through of per-wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. NBA League Pass auto renews until canceled. Additional terms at dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Sixers not playing tonight on this Wednesday, November 12th, so I'm going around the association for my picks here on DraftKings, going with 4 different picks here in this parlay, plus 1,032 odds. So if this hits, $100 turns into over 1,000. Give me Knicks money line as favorites against the Magic. Knicks have been playing well. Magic have not. I'll take Pistons money line against the Chicago Bulls. Similar story here. Bulls have kind of fallen off. Pistons 9-2, the 1 seed out east right now. Give me Spurs minus 4.5 over the Warriors tonight. Spurs also playing good ball. Warriors, kind of similar to the Bulls, started off hot. They got blown out last night by the Oklahoma City Thunder. Second half of a back-to-back with an older team. I think Spurs take that one. And give me Mavs money line over the Suns. The Nico Harrison effect. He, of course, was fired. Mavs GM let go by the team. First game after that, I think the team responds well and wins this game against the Phoenix Suns. Of course, all odds and lines are subject to change. Shout out to DraftKings for sponsoring today's show. All right, we have to talk about Justin Edwards because Edwards, honestly, he saved the 76ers last night. We were getting to a point in that Sixers-Celtics game midway through that fourth quarter where it was starting to get away from Philadelphia a little bit. And you were getting worried that it was going to be another big third quarter collapse for Philadelphia. They were going to drop to 6-5. And, the vibes were going to kind of go in the wrong direction once again after they've lost, I believe, 3 out of their previous 4 games before this after that hot start. But Justin Edwards said, nah, hold on. I got us. Don't worry. Let me get the ball in that left wing corner, and I'm going to knock down a couple of threes. He was phenomenal. He was efficient. I can't say enough good things about what Justin Edwards did last night. I liked how confident he was, how aggressive he was, and in 27 minutes, mostly in the second quarter and the fourth quarter, Edwards shined, finishing with 22 points, missing 1 shot all night. And the only shot he missed was the very last shot of the game when Maxey found him open at the top of the key for 3. He missed. Of course, Oubre got the rebound, put it up to put the Sixers ahead with just seconds left. But before that, hadn't missed a shot all game, and a lot of these shots were in big-time moments in the fourth quarter. Just take a look here at his scoring, Justin Edwards, in the fourth quarter. Of course, Sixers entered the fourth down by 6 after they were up 10 at halftime. Got outscored by 16 in the third quarter. Sixers have been the worst third quarter team in the NBA all season long, but they've been the number 1 team in the fourth quarter in terms of point differential. So Edwards played the entire fourth quarter, by the way, all 12 minutes, and started doing his damage. 10:48 left to go in the fourth. Edwards with a mid-range 2-point shot brought the Sixers back within 2. Then, with 8:18 left to go, Edwards got a dunk. That put the Sixers within 3 after some battling back and forth. Score then 85-82, Sixers still losing. And then this was the stretch, starting with 6 minutes left to go in the fourth, where Edwards really put that team on his back and just went absolutely nuclear from behind the arc. Edwards hit a 3-pointer with 6 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter, and this is a big spot. Before he made the shot, Sixers were down 92-84, down 8 with 6 minutes to go. If he misses this shot, things could very easily go south the rest of the game. But he nails this 3, brings the Sixers back within 5. Then with 5:17 to go, another Edwards 3, and these are all back-to-back-to-back possessions, by the way. Brings them within 2. Very next possession, hits another one, his third straight, puts the Sixers up 1 with just under 5 minutes left to go. An absolutely massive sequence from him. Credit to the Sixers and Nick Nurse for putting him in spots where he can knock those shots down. And, of course, credit to Edwards for having the confidence to step up and knock him down. And that's really what I took away from this. I love the confidence. I love the aggressiveness that he showed. And it wasn't just the fourth quarter. Edwards also had 9 points in the second quarter where he hit 2 threes and also converted an and 1. Both of those stretches were very big. And he's a player I think sometimes can lack a little bit of confidence. And it would have been very easy for him after how bad his summer was. Summer league and preseason were not good for Edwards to not have a lot of confidence heading into the season. But he hasn't played a whole lot, really sparingly here and there in certain matchups this year. But man, he showed out in this game. And Sixers do not win this game without him. A lot of credit to Nick Nurse as well for showing confidence in his young player. Nurse said about Justin Edwards, I think I said this to you guys before, talking to the media, I love him. I don't worry about him. He has a bad game. It doesn't even faze me because I love him. That's the kind of confidence as a player that when your coach shows that confidence in you, it just can reflect in your game. And Edwards talked about Nurse's comments, saying that means a lot coming from Nick, actually. We had a moment in practice, maybe a month ago. I was sitting on the sideline, and he was like, I'm not worried about you, and you shouldn't be worried about yourself. It's all going to work out. So, that honestly shows I've been waiting my turn today was my day. That is tremendous coaching right there to show confidence in a player despite him struggling all summer long. And Edwards as well to, take that advice and make sure he's always ready to go. Edwards also added that he actually got chills after he hit that third straight three and the crowd erupted. Sixers took the lead. He was like, man, get the F out of here. What are these guys doing, right? And a cool moment for him. Obviously a Philly guy, undrafted, but went to high school, was a top recruit in the Philadelphia area. So really cool for him to have this kind of moment in front of his hometown. And, we'll see if this can kickstart things a little bit for him if he can get more regular minutes and keep contributing like this. But a big, big night for Edwards. Shout out to the kid. Some other quick takeaways I have from this game. Again, it was a phenomenal one. If you weren't there for our watch party, man, you got to tune into the next one. I think I'm going to be live on Monday for Sixers versus Clippers. But some other takeaways real quick. Obviously, Kelly Oubre's game winner off the Justin Edwards missed three. Nobody boxed him out. Went up, grabbed the offensive rebound, put it back. That kind of extra effort obviously won the Sixers the game. And he was in foul trouble for a lot of the night. But early on, late in this game, just impacts winning. He's been phenomenal all season long. Andre Drummond, these past two games against Detroit and then against Boston where he has started, he's been so good. I definitely am eating my words for saying the Sixers should move off of him in the offseason. He has been phenomenal, and his defensive play on the Celtics' last possession where they were trying to tie or take the lead against Derek White, knocking that ball out of his hands, making him shoot a near half-court shot, that won the game just as much as Oubre's game winner. VJ Edgecombe was super clutch again. He struggled really these past 5, 6, 7 games. Hasn't been able to get shots to go and get in rhythm, but hit a massive three-pointer late in this game to help the Sixers win. You look at his numbers in crunch time, last 5 minutes of a 5-point game. He is one of the best clutch scorers in the NBA. I think he's shooting like a ridiculous 80% from the field in the clutch this season. So even though his numbers are down a little bit, still coming up big in huge moments. That's important for the rookie. Nick Nurse's late game offense, it's a little bit Jekyll and Hyde, right? Like when we get late in these games, it seems like the Sixers aren't really running sets, aren't really running plays. Their offense usually is give Maxey the ball and have him try to do something or run and pick and roll and try to figure it out. I want to see some better execution out of this team and out of Nick Nurse's late game offense. And then Jabari Walker's passing, man. He really flashed that passing ability in this one. There are a couple plays I can remember where Maxey finds Jabari Walker as he's cutting towards the basket, and then Walker had a couple sweet passes underneath to Andre Drummond, some chemistry between those two. I just love all the different skill sets and the different ways Walker can contribute to winning for the 76ers. And they are now 7-4. But we got to show some love to Justin Edwards after what really was a career night. His career high is 25, so he scored more in the past. But that game last night, I think, given the situation, given the moment, and just how he was able to impact that game, got to be the best game of his career. So spam those 11s. That is Edwards' jersey number down in the comment section. Thank you all so much for tuning in to today's show. Go Sixers, and we'll see you tomorrow here with another episode of 76ers Now.